First of all, I have to ask you, between the news of the election and the news of COVID-19, which one is the bigger news in US? Which one people has more interest in?
Today, right now, is all about the elections, but in everyone's minds about who are about to vote, COVID-19 is very important to them. It's as important as economy, which are they're the top two priorities of the Americans who are going to the poll this morning.
So it's finally today, right? So how do people feel about the US elections this time round?
If we look at early voting statistics, the numbers are through the roof. The number of people who already cast the vote is almost 100 million people. And compared to 4 years ago, when the total tallies is 139 million. So this is going to be a historic turnout.
So since your media agency caters in Thai language, so I assume that your viewers and audiences will mostly Thai. How are they react to what's going on with the election in the middle of the pandemic right now?
That's a great question. We have talked to a lot of people in the Thai diaspora communities in the past several months, and including the battleground states of Ohio. A lot of people are concerned about the economy and COVID-19. Regarding to the social environment or social sentiment, a lot of people have a concern about the security and also the social justice. So all in all, I see that the issues that people who vote and who come from Thailand, it's a reflection of what Americans are thinking about as well.
Mm-hmm. So do you think they feel related to what's going on?
Yeah, so Thai Americans who vote this year have quite a similar list of concern and priorities like Americans. I have talked to quite a few people who think about this event as a way to voice their what important to them, including COVID-19, economy. A lot of people are depending on the economic stimulus package, which are now being in the work between the White House and the Congress. A lot of people have lost their job or have lost a lot of money from their business because COVID-19 has affected their revenue greatly.
And based on what you've talked to with the Thai people in the United States, are they leaning towards the Democrats or the Republicans more?
I would say it's a split as much as we see among the Americans here. And I have talked to a few people who think that Republican has a favorable tax policy for them. A lot of business owners say that, under Trump administration, they pay less tax and they could use that gap to hire more people and also, keep it for the future expansion. For the Democrats, for the Thais who support Democrats and who can vote this year, they think that Biden has a better policy on healthcare, and they see that Biden characters is more. They think that it's more presidential because they hope that Biden could heal the nation.
I just find it a little funny when they're still trying to use the term presidential when they have Donald Trump as a president. He is, I would say, out of ordinary, right? He's not conventional.
President Trump's style, his personal style is his politics, and a lot of people support him for that. A lot of people see that it's refreshing to see the leader who speak to their interests. The surprise that we saw 4 years ago is an example for that. That a lot of people say that their voice has never been heard, and this person who is different from other presidents they have seen kind of resonate with them more than other people.
So have they started counting the mail-in votes yet, or do they have to wait for the in-person voting first?
It depends on states. A number of states start counting or processing the ballots when they receive the ballots. So that has started a long time ago for many states. But some key states, key swing states like Pennsylvania, they start counting on the same day that the polling station closed. So that means there would be a huge volumes of votes that will be counted in key states tonight.
But well, we have to ask you, even though the election is ongoing right now, mostly look like almost normal situation, but is there still some state that under lockdown or they're not talking about it because we haven't heard much about it in US?
The states that are under restrictions, I think we see the reflection from people, a lot of people who choose to vote by mail. About 2/3 or more of people in those states vote by mail. And it's a smaller number of people come out to vote in person today. And of course, COVID-19 has an impact on the business and the healthcare, and people would think that that's one of the top priorities for them in making the decision today.
Like you mentioned earlier, there are tons of people who came out to vote before the election day. So what's the main significance of these numbers?
The main significance means that a lot of people think this election mattered to them a lot. And there was a poll by Pew Research in the summer saying that 83% of people think that this election is very important to them compared to about just 50% in the election about 8 years ago. So we are expecting a big turnout. And looking at the early voting statistic, about 100 million, which means like a huge number, while eligible voters in the US is about 150 million.
So what can we expect for the in-person voting on election day, which is today?
Yeah, we have seen this morning the polling stations in Virginia has already started, and a lot of people come out, but they also have a quick process to get people vote. For example, in the morning, like 6:15, we saw a long line in Langley Station in Virginia, but within 5 to 10 minutes, those people come in the building and already being taken care of in the voting process. So there would be people coming in, but remember, a lot of people already voted, and the polling station has a mechanism to handle large crowd. I think the early voting this year is a good dry run for a lot of people who are poll workers.
As a media, is there any restriction for the media in the way they report the news about election 24 hours before the election day?
For the media, coronavirus guideline is the one that we are following. We're keeping distance when we go to polling stations. In terms of calling the result tonight, it would be an interesting thing to wait and see. The guideline for my agency is to look at both calling results by Associated Press and Reuters just to be 100% sure. Mm-hmm. And for social media, there are restrictions that are put in place to make sure that there's no fake news or too early to call votes by any influencers.